first speaker is Peter, who will be Peter. Do I say it correct? Peter or Peter or
Peter?
Peter.
Peter.
You can say Peter if it's Russian, Pierre if it's France.
It's coming from the heart, so don't look at
Just
me.
say it,
Yes.
it's fine.
And Lynette will be evaluating Peter.
Speech.
Not Peter's speech. Lynette, please tell us what is it that you will be looking from his speech when you evaluate.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So the purpose statement for this speech is for the member to practice writing and delivering a speech that inspires others. And the purpose of the speech is for the member to inspire the audience. So I'll take a vote afterwards to see, were you inspired? Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
And how long is the speech?
5 to 7 minutes.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Pieter Roos has 5 to 7 minutes to inspire us. His speech title, The Things That Matters. The Things That Matters, Pieter Roos.
About 10 years ago, I read the saddest book that I can remember. It was called Chasing Daylight and was written by the chairman of the firm KPMG, which is the fourth largest audit firm in the world. And what made it so sad was that he found the time to write this book right at the end of his life, which gave an account of the preceding months, which he spent making sure that the firm is doing well. Didn't spend it with his family, didn't spend it with his loved ones, didn't have any kind of spiritual experience to share. His life was the firm. And what he left behind was the firm, nothing else. That was his life. So when I read last week an account of, I didn't know you had a role like that, the death doula. I've heard about doulas who help bring life into this world, who support pregnant mothers, do all sorts of stuff that I don't understand. But the role of the death doula is to actually navigate people through their final days, weeks, months, however long they might have, when they realize that they're terminally ill and that they're coming to the end of their life. This person's name is Diane Button, and she summarized her experience into 5 things that she found mattered to people facing the end of their lives. It's not money she found, it's not fame, how many tries you scored, how many Grand Slams you won, how many Toastmaster contests you won, any of those things that we might recall as important. I was quite surprised at what she had to share. And tonight I'm going to recount those 5 things to you, which I believe would be as inspirational to you as they were to me. The first thing she found is that the ordinary is everything. The ability to enjoy that cup of coffee in the morning with your spouse. The ability to say good night to your son. The ability to take a leisurely stroll through your garden. I like cutting off the dead rosebuds. The ordinary things are the things, in the end, that people crave for when they're in hospital beds and they can't experience that any longer. I remember in my dad's final week, I went to him and I said to him, I went to your unit and I watered your flowers. And the expression on his face was priceless, because that's what he enjoyed. The ordinary things matter. Secondly, was what she called count your joy. And one of the people she worked with had a joy counter, where he actually wrote down everything he enjoyed, all those little pleasures in his day. He made a summary of every day up until the end. And looking back at that, recalling that at the end of every day gave him great pleasure. It actually inspired him. And it gave him great satisfaction to look back upon those things and say, I had a visit from a long lost friend that I hadn't seen. I had my son coming to me to visit me. I actually managed to read a magazine that I enjoyed. Counting the things that you enjoy. Then she found that people found fulfillment in living with a clean slate. So in the ordinary day, it might be not having outstanding tax returns that are or not having a rickety car that you haven't serviced in a while. To those things, to those people in the final moments, it actually meant being able to not having things that you worry about. That could be keeping short accounts in terms of your relationship, bad relationship with a parent that you managed to resolve, a child that you haven't seen in years because you had a rift, you came back home and where you managed to put things straight. All of those things that create those needles at the back of your mind. That unpaid bill, I forgot about. The book I didn't return to Kaneelweg. Again, to my dad it was a bit important that his library books be returned. Those little things that I can actually recall from saying goodbye to him 2 years ago, actually all are on this list. Returning the library books, making sure that the license disc of the car is renewed, even though you know you're not going to drive it again. Making sure that you've actually set things straight. Living with a clean slate. The fourth point was that kindness builds community. People will not, they say that people will not remember what you said to them. They might not remember your name. They might not remember what you've done. But they always remember how you made them feel. Those little acts of kindness, that little thing you did for somebody that you thought didn't matter, those are the things that come back and actually give you solace and give you calm, because kindness builds community. And then finally, don't miss the moments. Many people will recall to you how many sales targets they met, how many millions they amassed, how many competitions they won at work, how many awards they received, how many tennis championships they managed to take. Those seemingly big things in life mean little when you're approaching your end. What does matter is your daughter's Stepford that you attend, your son's hockey match, your wife's graduation, your parents' award for having done something in the old dojo where they were. Those things all come back to you, and they matter because those are the things you recollect as precious moments, as little golden nuggets that give you satisfaction. So what I want to leave with you tonight is a challenge. I want you to go back home and to think tonight, what will be my moments? What will be the things that actually stay with me when I approach the end? Will it be the money I made? Will it be the fame I amassed? Or will it be having done the things that matter? I'm Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Pieter, for stage Lynette Forman, who will be evaluating Pieter's speech. Lynette Forman. I have one.
Madam Toastmaster, it's not a point of personal preference. This is a speaking area. It's not on the stage. So please help me welcome Lynette to the speaking area or to deliver the evaluation or whatever. But it's just this on the stage, it just gets to me. So I had the privilege of evaluating the speech that Pieter delivered. And the criteria was to inspire the audience. Now I made notes at the back, which I would like you to send me a photograph of when you've got better lights, Peter, because these notes are for myself. But Peter mentioned 5 points that are important in life. And perhaps by the time you start reaching towards the end of your life, and you are contemplating what you have done and what you have failed to achieve during your life, these things may become more important to you. But that's the mistake you make, because these things should be important every day. And most of us, in the rush to get through, to achieve, to get to the goal, to get the paycheck, to get the bonus, we forget about others. Peter started off by saying that he read a book by the owner, manager, MD, whatever he was, CEO of KPMG. And he found it sad, and I don't know anything about the book, but that the man had nothing else to live for. He lived for the business. And there are so many people in the world today who make that mistake. They live for the business. And it's even a greater problem when it's the business and it's not your business. If you're living for your business, well then maybe there's a reason, because your family will inherit something or you can train them into it. But Peter, well done on sharing your message with us, despite them delivering the food or serving the food in the interim. And I looked at you while you were speaking, and somehow you managed not to allow that to distract you. I was very distracted because I could smell my supper next to me. But everyone else seemed to be quite well composed. So well done on doing that. You mentioned something about a death doula, and I think she shared these 5 items. It's not something I've ever heard of before, but it is something that I'm going to go and research, because I found it interesting to see that there's somebody called a death doula. Don't know how I got to 2 minutes already. What I would like you to work on in future, you deliver good, inspirational, thought-provoking speeches, but your vocal variety can be so much bigger. So work on vocal variety. In your next speech, focus specifically, if you can, on vocal variety. Find out what phrases you want to emphasize, where you want to speak louder, perhaps where you want to speak a bit softer so that people listen to you. But I really want to encourage you to pay attention to vocal variety on the next speech that you deliver. And I found your subject matter really good, and it caught my attention. You had a worthwhile message in your speech. Thank you for that. Madam General Evaluator.